So we are kicking the week off for particularly our first level learners, and we'll be focusing on working with passwords, how to keep ourselves safe and how to keep our devices safe. Now, this is the one for the teacher. So all the teachers out there, this is for you, so you know exactly what experience and outcome we're going to be focusing on today. So we're going to be looking at extending our knowledge of how to use digital technology to communicate with others, and how we can be aware of how to be safe and secure when using digital technology. And that's really, really important. And my friend Isabella, who is joining us from the wonderful Barefoot. I adore Barefoot Computing Science resources, absolutely adore them. And I know Isabella is going to be speaking a lot more about Barefoot. But honestly, see, for all you teachers out there, if you have never registered for Barefoot Computing yet, it is the gift that keeps on giving. It is an amazing resource. It's linked to all areas of our curriculum for excellence, and it is absolutely there for you to use across the curriculum, for early level all the way up to second level. So by the end of this, everybody, you will all, and hopefully you should all be able to demonstrate an understanding for the need of strong passwords. And throughout the session today, myself and my colleague Eva will be able to answer any of your questions in the meeting chat, and we'll also be able to highlight some additional resources for you as well. So thank you so much there, Eva. Eva's already posted the Barefoot link. Okay, so I'm now going to hand over to my wonderful friend Isabella. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Please feel free to continue to let us know where you're calling in from today, how many learners are joining us. And again, if you've got any questions, please do just let us know. Thank you, Isabella. I'm going to hand over to you now to say a big hello, and we'll keep an eye out on the chat facility. I should also say that my wonderful colleague Eva is also going to be recording this session, so again we can use it for a watch again later on. So over to you, Isabella from Barefoot Computing, and thanks so much again for joining us for the Scotland Week.
Perfect. Thanks, Louise. Everyone hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, I'm joining you today from London, so it's really nice to see a little snippet of Scotland in my morning. That's quite unusual for me. So it's fabulous to see you all this morning. And that's right, we're going to be looking at some of the Barefoot resources today, and we're going to be thinking about how we can stay really safe when we are online. So we're going to get really good at being cyber smart today. And just another quick one for the teachers. So the resources that we use today are all, as you just heard from Louise, freely available for you to download. There's a little link here, but I'll pop that up on the screen at the end of the session as well. So if you decide that you'd like to carry on using the resources after the session, that would be really fabulous, and you can download everything we use. Okay, so we're going to start by thinking about locks and passwords. And I love this activity. We're going to think about everything we can see in the picture that I show you, which has got a lock or a password. Now, you might have seen this kind of picture before. It's a bit like a Where's Wally style picture where you have to find the things hiding in the picture. And in this particular picture, there's loads of different things hidden in it there, some of which have got locks or passwords. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes in your classes with your teachers. You can write them on the whiteboards if you want to, if you've got them, or on paper, or you can just have a chat about it with your teacher and see how many things in this picture you can spot that have got a lock or a password. And perhaps, teachers, if you could just pop the things that people find into the chat, then we'll have a little read through of your messages and see what we can find. So I'm going to give you maybe 2 minutes and you can start making your lists. Off you go.
I'm seeing lots of people very busy at work there. We've got some people typing into the chat facility.
Perfect.
Oh, Miss Lamont's class, I did not get that at all. So yeah, Miss Lamont's class have said falling on a road in a hole.
Ooh,
We've
they
got a
can
school
spot
lock
that.
on the gate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
falling down.
Do you, in fact, Isabella, do you want me to tell you what our schools are saying just now?
Yeah, if you could just tell me, Louise, if any of the locks or passwords that people have spotted in the picture, that would be fabulous.
Great. So we have got, there's a lock on a bicycle. We have got a helicopter lock. We have got a lock for a cafe, a lock for a bank, lock on the bike. The man's phone has a password, no doubt on it.
Good one.
There's a safe in the bank, so there's also locks on the bicycles. Everyone's getting that. There's a lock on the gate in the garden. The car will have a lock on it. There's a parcel locker, a lorry, a car.
Brilliant. So many, so many. I'm going to, I think, do you know what? I think we've got most of the ones that we've got on there. But look, there's a few circles there around some of the others. We've got a little ATM, a little cash machine down in the bottom left. I'm not sure if anyone spotted that. You were really good at spotting the locks and passwords on doors and things. We've got the card machine at the cafe. I think someone spotted, and the till inside, the cash register inside. And I think we found the briefcase, didn't we? And we found the handcuffs, we found the helicopter, we found the parcel locker. Do you know what, children? Passwords and locks are all around us in real life. We use them so much without even realizing that we use them. And we use passwords and we use locks to help us keep our things safe, really, don't we? And what I'd like you to just do for a minute, thank you for finding those, by the way, and also teachers, this is just a little piece of a much bigger picture that you can download from the Barefoot resources. So your children might love to look at the bigger picture later on. But what I'd like you to do is just to take a look, whichever classroom you're sitting in at the moment, I'd like you to take a look around and see what can you see in your classroom that's got a lock or a password, or a passcode maybe, because some of our things have those, don't they? And if you've got a whiteboard and pen or a piece of paper and a pencil, maybe just jot down a few things that you can see around you that have locks or passwords. And I'll give you a minute for that. And perhaps teachers, you could pop some into the chat and then we can share those, Louise, in about a minute's time. You might also
on
think...
fire in the chat facility, Isabella, on fire.
Okay, brilliant.
We've got locks on windows, we've got locks on cupboard doors, Chromebooks. Somebody said they've got a lock on their teacher. I'm not really sure how that works, but you might want to come back and tell us a bit more about that. Passwords for our lunches. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Laptops, iPads, windows, lots of locks on the windows in schools. No more teachers have locks on them, so that's really good to hear. We've got passwords for different pieces of software and Chromebooks. And Mrs. Mitchell has a lock on her filing cabinet.
Ooh, good one.
So that's probably where she keeps all her sweeties, I would imagine.
Excellent. Lots of doors and windows and things like that, but also lots of technological devices, we said, like Chromebooks and iPads and things like that. And some of you might have seen perhaps your parents with their phones maybe, or other devices where they have to put in maybe a passcode or maybe even their thumbprint to unlock them. So all of these things that we have to try and keep really secure so that we keep our stuff safe. Yeah. And when we're keeping our stuff safe, we often use a password or a passcode. But I wonder how much you know about what makes a good password. When we're talking about passwords, we can call a good one, a strong password. So I wonder if any of you have maybe any tips about making a password. What do we have to remember when we want to make a password? So perhaps a game's asked us for a password, or an app that we want to use has asked for a password. So maybe with your teachers, have a little chat. Take about a minute and see if you can come up with any tips about making strong passwords, and you can pop those into the chat too. I'm going to start you off with my best tip, I think, for making a password. And my best tip is to make sure you keep your passwords secret. That passwords have to be kept secret because we don't share them with other people. They're things that are private. They're part of our personal information, sometimes we call it. Have we got any other tips on there, Louise, or have you got any tips about making a strong password?
You know, my biggest tip is, and someone's actually already come up with my best tip, and that's it's all got so many, Miss Mitchell's class. They said use 3 words. So my biggest tip is always to use 3 random words. So well done, Mrs. Mitchell's class. That's brilliant. Lots of people coming up with, you know, adding numbers to your password, something that's really tricky, something that's, you know, quite personal that only you would know about. And lots of people advising not to use 1, 2, 3 or 0, 0, 0, or use the word password.
Oh, would you know what?
Can
That's
you
really
believe
funny.
that, Isabella? People use the
Wow.
word password for the password.
That's so funny because actually I put a few examples of possible passwords that people like to use on my slide here. And yeah, password is in the most common 10 passwords used. I think it might even be number 1 because you can look up the most common passwords and they're just so easy to guess. They're really terrible. So I've put a few examples on here. So you said, Louise, that idea about using 3 random words. And I wonder, children, if any of you can spot on my screen, or your screen, which of those uses 3 random words. Maybe let your teacher know, and you could pop that into the chat if you want. There's a couple of good passwords, I would say, or strong passwords on this page, but there's a couple that I don't think are so strong at all. So perhaps have a quick chat and then pop into the chat if anyone spots the ones that they would think might be really strong.
Mrs. Sutter's class is coming first. We'll see if anybody else wants to have a go.
So we got password on there, haven't we? We said that wasn't a good one. And then we had...
Oh, sorry, I gave that away. Sorry.
No, that's okay. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those kind of numbers in a sequence are too easy to guess. And we got Sarah over there. And I think that's probably someone's name. So we said about not using our personal information, didn't we? Anyone else on the chat now?
Yeah, so we've got 3 guesses so far.
Brilliant.
Would you like to know what those 3 guesses are?
Yes, please.
They've all come back in with plant, book, melon.
Brilliant.
Yep, plant,
so
book,
these
melon.
are 3 random words password, isn't it? Plant, book, melon. Now, I think that would be pretty hard for someone to guess. They're just 3 random words joined together. They might mean something to the owner who thought of them, but really they'd be quite hard for a stranger to guess. And there's another password on that page that I think is quite a strong one, a tricky one for someone to guess. I wonder if anyone else got that one, Louise.
They did. They got the sandwich one.
Good.
And yeah, that was very good.
So the
couple of people got
sandwich,
that.
can you see with the A, we've swapped for a symbol of an at, the at symbol. And then instead of an I, we've got a 1. So sometimes people like to do that in their passwords. They swap letters for numbers, and they use symbols as well to make them really strong, really tricky to guess. The key thing to remember, though, is that we have to remember our password ourselves, don't we? So we can't make it so tricky that no one can remember it. So it's a bit of a fine line. But making a strong password is really important, and keeping it secret is really, really important. And sometimes we use our password to keep the things that we own safe, okay? So what I'd like us to think about just for a minute is the idea of owning something, okay? So this is a picture here of Ethan, and he has got his own scooter. So there he is on his scooter. So Ethan is the owner of that scooter. It's his, it belongs to him. And because Ethan's the owner of this scooter, he can decide who can borrow it. So he might decide that some of his friends can borrow it, and he might give them his permission. So when we allow someone else to use our things, we call that giving our permission, okay? So I'd like you to think about something that you own. So maybe your favorite game or your favorite toy. And I'd like you to think about who the owner of that toy is and how you would feel if someone took that toy or game without your permission. And I've put a little it's not a smiley face yet, half a face on my screen. And I'd like you, if you've got a piece of paper or whiteboard, just to draw the little half of the face that I've done, and just draw in how you would feel if someone took and used that favourite game or toy without your permission. Okay, so I'll give you a moment to do that. And perhaps you can hold them up and show your teachers. And if anyone wants to pop into the chat any adjectives to describe how they would feel, that's absolutely fine. Louise, have we got anything there yet? Or perhaps you can tell me how you might feel if someone used your favourite game without permission, or your favourite possession.
I would be very upset, I'd be very sad, and I'm seeing a lovely picture of a very, very, very sad face. And tears as well that someone's drawn. That is a wonderful drawing and a wonderful way to exemplify exactly how that would make you feel. So well done, that class. That was superb. I've got other things coming in: sad, angry, overwhelmed, lots of little emojis coming in as well, of like crying faces, angry, sad, disappointed, upset, angry. Yeah,
Right.
it would. It's not nice when someone else takes something from you. Oh, here's another one. Oh, that's a wonderful picture of someone feeling quite sad. And that would make us really sad when people take or use something that doesn't belong to them.
That's right. Thank you for those. You're right. So really angry, really sad, upset, frustrated, annoyed, all of these things we would feel if someone took something without our permission. And here we're talking about things we have in real life, things that we can pick up and touch and see. But also what's really important to remember is that digital things also have owners. And when I'm talking about digital things, I'm talking about things we might see when we're online, when we're on a device, maybe playing a game, etc. So we might see photos. We might be searching for a photo to use in our work. We might just be looking at photos online. They have owners too. The person who took the photo is the owner. Same along with the films that we might watch. They have owners too. The person who created the film is the owner of the film, or the group of people. We might listen to music online. And again, the person who wrote the song owns that song. We can't touch it, but it still has an owner. Sometimes we might play games or download apps, and they also have owners too. So it's really important for us to remember that actually all of the digital things that we see and play and use online, they all have owners too. And those owners can decide who uses them and maybe whether they have to pay for them. So the same rules apply to these digital items as well. So I'm going to give you, it's a bit tricky for us to understand sometimes when we can't see the thing, but I'm going to give you a little example, and I want you to think about who the owner is in this example and whether it's okay to share it. So listen carefully. Now, I took a picture of my painting with my tablet, so my tablet computer, and I want to share it online with a friend. I'd like you to think about who the owner of that picture is, of the picture of the painting, and is it okay to share? So I took a picture of my painting with my tablet and I want to share that picture online with a friend. Who's the owner and is it okay to share? And if you can think about why, fabulous. And I'd like you to pop your comments into the chat, please. So I'll give you a little minute to talk about that in your classes. So who do we think the owner of that picture is? And do we think it's okay for that person to share it with their friend? Has anyone got any ideas?
Yeah, so we've got Miss Salter's class have come in. The person who has drawn and taken the picture, so yes, it's okay to share it as it belongs to them.
Absolutely.
And Miss Swanson's class, the person who drew it is the owner. It is okay to share it if they want to.
Brilliant. And it's up to them, isn't it? It's up to them whether they want to share it because they are the owner. It's also worth just thinking about, you know, sometimes we might share pictures with other people and we've checked that we've got permission, but also it's worth thinking about sometimes we might want to say no if someone's taken a picture of us. We might want to say, actually, I don't mind you taking the picture, but I don't want you to share it. I don't want other people to see it, and that's okay. It's even okay for us to say, actually, I'd rather you didn't take my picture, because sometimes you might not be comfortable with someone else taking your picture. So it's always a good idea to check before you take someone's picture if they're happy with that. Okay, next example. Right, my brother made a song on his phone. I found it. I want to share it with my friends. He doesn't know I have found it. Okay, I'd like you again to think about who's the owner and is it okay to share and why? So my brother made a song on his phone. I found it and I want to share it with my friends. He doesn't know I have found it. Pop your ideas into the chat. Okay, any thoughts coming in there about the brother's song?
Yes. So the brother is the owner from Miss Salter and her class, so well done there. Miss Moore, it is no, because it doesn't belong to you. You have to ask his permission. And the brother is the owner. You need permission to share it. That was from Miss Mackenzie's class. And no, you would need permissions from the owner, and the owner is the brother. So I think everybody, it's not okay. So yeah, we've got, it's not okay. You need your brother's permission, primary 2B. You need to ask for permissions first. So I think everyone is really understanding that, you know, it belongs to the brother. You have to ask his permission before you use anything like that at all. They do not have permission. So thank you.
Brilliant. Well
That's great.
done. That's really important. And now, and actually, teachers, these are just a few scenarios from a much bigger activity again, with lots of examples. So if you want to do a bit more work on this, some of them get a little more complex. You can download those, and I'll show you the links again later. So well done. That's right. So we need to try and remember that these digital objects that we might not be able to see or touch also have owners too. And so we need to get the right permission when we're using them. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to play a game now, which is another one of my favorite cyber games on Barefoot. It might look slightly familiar to you. It looks like a game that we might know already, but it's got a bit of a twist. And this game is called Cyber Snakes. Okay, so you might look at this board and think, that looks a little bit like Snakes and Ladders. Yes, it does look a little bit like Snakes and Ladders. But what you'll see on every different square that we can land on is a scenario, like something that happened, okay? And some of them have got ticks and some of them have got crosses. Now we have snakes and ladders, just like we do in the original game. But what you'll notice is that all the ones with ticks have got ladders and all the ones with crosses have got snakes. So it works in the same way as snakes and ladders, in that we go up the ladders and down the snakes. But when we actually land on a square, we're going to think about whether it's a good thing that we might do online, or a don't, a bad thing that wouldn't be a good idea to do online. Okay, so that's why we've got the ticks and the crosses. So it will become straightforward as we play. So I'm going to roll my virtual dice. I've got my yellow counter down there, look, on the go in the bottom left-hand corner, and I'm going to roll my virtual dice and let's see what we get. Okay, so I've rolled a 2. So I'm going to move my counter 2 spaces. And there it is. Oh, look, I've landed on a do. Let's see what it's all about. Okay. You and your parent agree which fun websites and games you can use at home. Let's read that again. You and your parent agree which fun websites and games you can use at home. I'd like you to have a little chat with the person next to you and think about, why is that a do? Why is that a good thing? Why is that a tick and I'm about to go up a ladder? So have a little chat with the person next to you or in your class, and you can pop your ideas into the chat. Okay, I'll give you a minute to do that. So have we got any ideas coming in there, Louise? You and your parent agree which fun websites and games you can use at home. I wonder why that's a do. That's a good thing.
So, Miss Moore's class are saying your parents gave you permission, so you know it's going to be suitable for you. That's a good answer. You know, it's age appropriate, absolutely. And parents can check the age rating. And it's to keep us safe online. With our parents being with us, we would have permission and we know that it would be safe because we'd be working together. And our parents know that there's nothing bad on it.
And actually, that was a really nice one about working together with your parents on a website and a game. I think that's lovely if you can do that. So, you know, maybe the next time you're on a game or a website, you know, see if you can ask your parent to come and have a look and play it with you, and explain to them maybe about what it is you're playing and why you like to play it, and get them involved, because that's a really good way to let them know about what you like to do online. So yeah, loads of good tips there. So we talked about age limits, didn't we? That's really interesting. to make sure that the game or the website we're using is appropriate for our age and not too old for us. That's a really good one. And to make sure that it's safe and it's okay for us to use. Brilliant. So that's definitely a do. So let's see where we
Isabella, can I just come in with one other thing that people have been saying, and it's really important that if you're working, if your parents know about the websites you're on, because a lot of websites and apps come with payment options. And that's really important. And quite a few people have been saying, some apps cost money and subscriptions, and it's just really important that we check to make sure we're allowed to go on there. And I've also got some people showing what they've got on the screen, and they're drawing and they're still writing there, Isabel. I know you can't see everybody, but everyone's still really hard at work, and those are really, really important. And also, if you're on some games, they have chat rooms with people who aren't your friends. So that's a really important point. Thank you so much, Miss Lamont's class, for that.
Brilliant. Yeah, so a couple of really good ones there. Absolutely. Sometimes your parents might not know that, something costs money, or there's maybe something you can buy in the game that you have to pay for. So absolutely, we need to be really careful when things are asking us for payment details. And yeah, also chat rooms. Exactly. I wonder if anyone knows why we need to be careful about games with chat rooms. That's a little extra question there you might want to think about and pop into the chat. What could be dangerous about being in a chat room when we're on a game? I wonder if anyone knows. Perhaps we'll come back to that, Louise, and I'll give them a bit of time to think about that.
Isabella, there's lots of hands that I'm seeing going up in these classrooms. So I think teachers are taking a lot of answers now. Brilliant. And I think lots of people have got, reasons as to, why and how we should be able to, be safe when we're online. So let's see if anyone puts anything into the chat facility for that, because that's a really important question.
Okay, yeah, let's give people a second then.
So Miss Salter's class, you don't know who you're really chatting to, and they might want our personal information. Wow, Miss Salter's class.
That's a good one. So I think you're probably thinking about things that we shouldn't share with strangers. So maybe, what wouldn't I share? I wouldn't share my full name, for example, and I probably wouldn't share my address where I live. And I wouldn't share like the kinds of things that I do out of school. So like, the clubs I go to, or the hobbies that I have, like where I am at certain times, I wouldn't share any of that stuff. So there's a lot of things that are classed as our personal information that really, like our password, we need to keep really private. So absolutely, sometimes in chat rooms, we just don't know who we're talking to, do we? They're not people that we know from real life. So when we are talking in a chat room, if we're allowed to be in a chat room, we need to be extra careful about what we're sharing. Yeah, brilliant. Anything else there coming in, Louise?
There's lots coming in, people pretending to be someone who they're not in a chat room, and that's really important. And don't send any pictures. And I think, as you said, it's really around that personal information. You just don't share your personal information, or you don't video call with strangers. So that's actually really nice to be able to talk about that as well as part of Cyber Scotland Week. I think it's very, very important. And there's a lot of very clever children across Scotland that know exactly, what and how to behave online. So that's great to see.
Brilliant. They're all such useful tips and things that we have to think about, because there is so much that we need to think about when we're online. It can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but that sounds like people are really on the right track, and definitely conversations that teachers can continue afterwards. So well done. That's brilliant. Okay, let's see where I am on my board. So I went up that ladder, didn't I, on that one, because I had a do. So I'm going to roll again. And I have rolled a 2. So let's see where I end up. Oh, there I am. Oh, that was close. I thought I was nearly on a snake there, but I'm not. I've got another do. So my next one is: something scary appears on screen when you are watching TV. You show your parent and they help you to get back to your program. Okay. Yeah, I can see why that's a do. I'd like you to talk about that one. So Something scary appears on screen when you're watching TV. You show your parent and they help you get back to your program. So could you take a minute to have a chat about that one and pop any thoughts into the chat? Why is that a do? Why is that a good thing to do? Okay, any ideas? So something scary appears on screen when you're watching TV, you show your parent and they help you get back to your program. Why do we think that's a do?
Miss Lamont's class have, I think they were pretty much first in, and that's actually really interesting, and that's a really, really good response. Let parents know what you've seen and let you talk about any of your fears. And that's hugely important when we're talking about cyber resilience and internet safety, that we can talk about it together and speak about what we have seen and work out, the best solution. So that's just a wonderful response. Thank you so much for that. We have got Miss Ray's class, better to ask for help. Mrs. Mackenzie's class, parents can help us. Mrs. Nielsen, they can show you step by step how to get rid of it and to make sure it doesn't happen again. Great response. Miss Connolly's class, it's always a good idea to tell your parents when something scary appears. And again, it's about being able to talk about that. Oh, loads of responses coming in. Oh, honestly, guys, I am just so impressed with your knowledge on how to be resilient and how to make sure you go to the right person to talk to about it.
Brilliant. Yes. Yeah. Telling your parents. So this doesn't just apply to TV, does it? This might be if we were playing a game on our tablet, on a website, on a computer, whatever device, and whatever we were doing really when we're online or on screen. That's so important about showing our parent, asking someone that we trust, an adult who we trust, for help. And they'll let us know the right thing to do, the best thing to do. It might be to get back to that program. It might be to close something down that wasn't appropriate for us. It's always best to tell someone rather than maybe be worried that you might get told off for being there in the first place, because an adult is in the best place to help you. So absolutely, well done. So that's why it's a do, definitely, because we showed our parent and they helped us get back. We didn't try and click on something different or hide it and be really scared. So best thing to do, absolutely. Okay, back to our game. Where am I? Oh, look, I'm right up there in the top left now, my yellow counter. Okay, let's have one more roll. Oh, I've rolled a 3. Oh, I think I might have missed that snake. Oh, okay, let's see. Oh no, I've got the other snake. I've got the yellow snake. Okay, so I've got a don't. I knew I'd get one eventually and I was almost at the end. Never mind. Let's see what I've got. Your time limit is up for using the tablet, but you really want to play for a bit longer, so you keep going. Okay, have a little chat about that one. I wonder if any of you have ever been in that position. Okay, let's think. Your time limit is up for using the tablet, but you really want to play for a bit longer, so you keep going. I'll give you a minute to chat about that and pop your answers in. Okay, have we got anything coming in about that one, Louise? Our time limit's up for using the tablet, but you really want to play for a bit longer, so you keep going. I wonder.
I was about to say no one's come back with anything because we have got the best behaved children ever here today across Scotland, but actually they have. So you need to check with your parents. You're breaking your parents' trust. You might have school the next day and you'll be very tired, Jess. That's really important. It can really hurt your head and your eyes if you play for too long. We should always listen to our parents. Oh, excellent, Miss Connolly's class. Well done. You're breaking the rules. Yep. So that's, and we all need our sleep.
Brilliant. And I like the ones about being tired and needing sleep and maybe hurting our eyes, because actually too much screen time isn't good for us. And that's why our parents set things like time limits. So you might even have set some time limits with your parents about, your use of devices and things. So once you've got those limits in place, it's a really good idea to try and stick to them. Although I know it's really tempting, especially if you're in the middle of something really good, to keep going. So that one is a snake. So unfortunately, I have slithered all the way back down to 6. So I was almost at the end, but not quite. And actually, talking about time limits, our time limit for today's lesson is almost up. But that game that we just played, that Cyber Snakes game, I'll again show the link to the teachers in a second, but you can actually use that game, the board from it, and you can either use it on your board or you can print it off and use it like a real Snakes and Ladders game. There's even a dice you can print off too. Or I quite often use it in my classroom on the board with a virtual dice, like a Google dice. So it would be lovely if you wanted to carry on playing that game at some point later today or another day with your classmates, and you could see who could try and get all the way to the end and avoid all of those snakes and don'ts. So I hope that you have enjoyed today's lesson all about cyber safety. We've looked at 3 different barefoot activities, and remember, teachers, you can download these. I think you've been sent the links, but they're also here too. So you can see there on the left, we've got the Keep It Safe, which is that Where's Wally style picture that we started with on the locks and passwords. Remember, you can print off the big one or you can do it on your board. It's a really lovely picture there. And you've got Who Owns This and Cyber Snakes board there too, okay? And then you've also got more resources, including resources for older children in the school you might want to share with your colleagues on the link on the right, which is our cyber link. So thank you very much. I'm going to hand back to Louise, and just a final one, that all of the Barefoot resources are free. So you need to make an account for some of them, but they're all free and available for you. So it'd be great if you wanted to have a look at those.
Oh, Isabella, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule and joining us today for Cyber Scotland Week, and really launching Cyber Scotland Week for us with this wonderful live lesson. So honestly, Isabella, thank you so much. There's lots of thanks you'll be able to read now in the chat facility from everyone. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to pop them into the chat facility. Myself, Isabella and Eva will stay online for a few more minutes. And it's just been amazing to see you all working really hard, answering some pretty tough questions. But I think we're all feeling quite confident and secure that you have brilliant knowledge on how to keep yourself and your devices safe. So always remember those 3 random words to keep ourselves safe, and head on over to Barefoot, and you can get all of those resources for completely free. And I know that Eva's been popping some links into the chat facility as well, and I'm just going to paste that 3 random words information into there again. Thank you all so much, but a massive thank you to all the teachers out there who have brought you all along to this live lesson today, and I hope that you're able to join in with some of the other live lessons that we've got on for Cyber Scotland Week this week. So thank you all very much for coming along, and a big wave to you all. Bye everybody. It was lovely seeing you all.
Louise, should we let and say goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.